Okay, hi. So, if you are a level 2 candidate or actually any level candidate and you have been reading about linear regression and every time you shut the book after 3 seconds you're like, what was that I read about? So, you've come to the right place. I had this issue that I would read the chapter, I would understand it, I would, be like, makes sense. But then every time I would open it again or try to practice a sum, I would be blank. I would have no clue what total variation was, what unexplained variation is, what is happening, what are all these things. So, please be warned that what I'm going to say is how I visualize it in my head. That's simply how things played out in my head. I claim to be no expert at CFA curriculum or regression or financial analysis. This is how I retained my concepts, and I think it might help you too. So, what I'm going to do is for this chapter, I'm going to have two very short videos. I'm not going to go through the whole of the fluff. The two short videos, one I will be talking about all the different terms that are thrown at us, the SSE, the SEE, the RSS, what actually they are, and second would be a very short one on hypothesis testing, why do we do it, does it make sense, and all those things. So yeah, now I will start with what my head thinks a regression line is, a very basic explanation. So, what I believe a regression line is, let's say you have some observations. Okay, this is past and this is future. Now, I say that if I have two variables x and y, I know how they're going to play, how they played out in the past. I can kind of guess how they're going to uh, react in future. So what I do is, okay, this has been the trend, so let me say this is how it's going to be. Okay, now this is my regression line which has guessed the coming observations based on my previous ones. That's a regression line. Now what's happening here is that a regression line, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to have a minimum sum of squared errors. So now that we're here, this is my line between the past and the future. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so these are my 4 estimated values. Just for the simplicity's sake, I'm going to make this here. Okay, so these are my 4 values, and now I say this is my regression line. Now one might say, why do you think that is your regression line and not this? Why is this? I know it's not a straight line, please be kind. Why is this not your regression line? So what is happening is the sum of squared errors. So error is basically this, 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 this. So sum of squared errors is least for this line and is more for this line. So which is why I went and said that this is going to be this is going to be my regression line. Now I am going to just remove this yellow part because now we know why that was our regression line. Actually I just turned to a new page. Yeah, so now that we have already established what a regression line is, I would now talk about, now this is like the point where future is starting. This is my line. Now this is my regression line. Okay, now there are these dots. Okay, now with the time passing, this has actually this is actually the actual dots. This is now the present. Things happened, we are at this time. Now we know that these were my observations in that period of time. Okay, so what happens is, I want to test that, okay, how well has actually my regression performed. So there are some let's say yardsticks that I measure it with. Okay, those are variations. So there's explained variation, there's unexplained variation, and then there's total variation. Now what is variation? uh, this, let's say, is my y bar. Okay, this is the mean of the values, that is my regression line. These are my actual values. Okay, so we're talking about three things here. We're talking about y bar, y cap. I don't know what the curriculum calls it. I just call it cap because I just read the curriculum, so all my interpretations are I don't hear somebody, so I don't know. So this is y cap, which is my estimated value. This is y, which is my actual value. This is y bar, which is my mean. Okay, now what's happening is there is a variation between the actual and the mean. This is the variation. Okay, but my regression line says that I already told you this is going to happen, right? I already told you, dude, this is where you're going to lie. You're not going to lie at the mean. So this is explained variation. But then we say that, okay, cool, I get it, you did tell me, but you did not tell me about this. You told me it's going to be here, but I'm here. So this is unexplained variation. Now they all have their own set of fancy names. I am just going to rub a little bit of this to just create some space. Yeah, now they all have their own set of fancy names. This is called RSS. This is called SE. So SSE ho gaya, RSS we have. Now there's something called SEE, which is RSSE upon n minus 2, actually n minus k minus 1. So in linear this is 1, so it's n minus 2. And TSS, which is basically sum of SSE and RSS. So sum of square errors, residual sum of squares, and what is this one called? Just a second. Standard error of estimate. So that's what SEE is. It's standard error of estimate. This is sum of squared errors. This is residual sum of squares. Does that make any sense? This is RSS. This is SSE, and SEE is a completely different calculation in itself, which is this.